someone new is coming to history. A force of nature who defies time and space. The world will never be the same.
It's a joke.
This is my dad, Ozzy, Prince of Darkness and History Nerd.
History
Where do we go next?
can be a trip.
The world is our oyster, and we shall exploit it.
Pretty impressive.
It really is.
Ozzy and Jack's World Detour, Sunday, July 24th at 10 on History.
Let's rock and roll.
My dad, Ozzy, Prince of Darkness and History Nerd.
Ozzy and Jack Osbourne.
He's traveled the world, but never stopped to take in the sights.
Ozzy!
Hit the road.
That was a little bit of audio from Ozzy and Jack's World Detour, which premieres tonight at 9 o'clock Central on the History Channel. Features Ozzy Osbourne and his son, Jack, and he's on the MPW Digital TV Celebrity Hotline right now. Jack, how are you, man?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for taking the time and calling this morning. I really appreciate it, and congratulations on the new show, Ozzy and Jack's World Detour, and that's on 9 o'clock Central for us tonight on the History Channel.
Yes, sir. Yep. Thank you very much.
So, whose idea was this, Jack? Because I love the premise. I've seen like a little bit of previews for it. Was it something that you wanted to do, or what?
So it was kind of a producer I work with. We were, sat around. We kind of had this brainstorm about, we were just having a bit of a creative chat, and she was like, "Hey, what about a history show with you and your dad?" And I was like, you know what? It's a good idea, but my dad would never do it. After the Osbournes, he kind of swore off doing TV, and he's like, "No, I'm a musician. I'm not a TV person." And I just kind of, I brushed it off like he would never do it. And then about 6 weeks later, I was driving in a car with him, and it popped into my head, and I was like, "I'll just ask him." And I'm like, "Hey, would you ever do a history show with me?" And he was like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'd love to do that. That would be great." And at that point, I was like, "Oh, okay." Because I wasn't really expecting him to be like, "Absolutely." So
right.
I had to kind of get wheels in motion and really think about what it was we were trying to do. And, a few things, after some scrambling around and, getting the show out there and selling it, here we are 18 months later.
It's so crazy because I remember when you guys must have been filming this, and I imagine, Jack, at most of the locations you went, it was hard to, your family's well known. So was it hard to film on location because people were all over the place, or what?
Yes, like if we would go to places and try and do a shot where we're walking down a main drag anywhere, it would get kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, people were pretty respectful, and there was a bit of a buffer with the camera crew and things like that. But it got totally crazy when we went to San Antonio. I mean, when we went to the Alamo, there must have been 1,000 people there waiting, which was totally wild. I was not expecting that to happen. But for the most part, it was smooth sailing.
So you go to all these cool places, and had you traveled to any of these locations before, like on a family vacation, or were a lot of them like first time visits with your dad?
A lot of them were first time visits.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Because when my dad's traveling and he's touring, it's venue, hotel, airport. He doesn't really get to check stuff out. We've been to Pennsylvania, touring together and things, but we've never really checked it out, or Virginia or what have you. So it was pretty fresh. I mean, I'd been to some places,
mm-hmm.
But not any of the historical monuments that we visited.
What do you think, Jack, that people are going to be surprised the most when they tune into Ozzy and Jack's World Detour tonight on the History Channel? Because obviously you're going to these places, but I imagine, and I don't know how each episode is going to break down, but I bet that people will appreciate the relationship and the experiences that you and your dad have at each of these stops along the way.
Totally. I think this show is really, really funny. And I know it's kind of weird to say that, but it's kind of, at its core, it's a history show, and there's a lot of great takeaway. Mm-hmm. But it's we do it through a lot of humor, and it just kind of accidentally happened that way. So I don't know. I think it's funny. I know it's weird to say because I'm in it, but I would probably, a lot of history takeaway and a lot of humor.
I can't wait to watch it. How has being a father changed your life? Because you have 2 kids, I have 2 young kids. Is it, and I can hear one of them in the background, has it been a thing for you? Yeah. For you, Jack, like, are you cautious of your kids? And because I imagine the paparazzi still bother you, right?
You know what? They kind of don't. I mean, I live I live a little bit outside of the buzz of Hollywood. So, occasionally they're a part of in the part of town I live in.
Sure.
I don't really get bothered that much by them. But I am very cautious of my kids. I do take being a father very seriously, and I enjoy it. I think it's incredibly fun and rewarding. So for me, it's I don't know. I like being a dad, and I like having little buddies to go do things with. So it's
they're kind of like.
But then again, you don't get much sleep and/or personal time, which is a slight strike against it.
Right.
I can live with that. It's not forever.
I feel like, and I've said this before on the radio, like if you want to stop, teenagers from having sex, let me just show up at a high school with my 4-year-old and 19-month-old and just be like, hey, look, they're always there. They're never, they're never not there. That's all it would take, right? I mean,
totally.
That's it.
Totally. It's like, here, hang out with this baby for a week and realize that, everything that you like to do, you will no longer really be able to do.
So, right. And I wonder, when you're filming the show, Ozzy and Jack's World Detour, did you get to bring the girls along with you, or did you space it out so that you weren't away from home that much?
Yeah, we would space it out. Like
okay.
the longest I was gone was about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And that was pretty tough on the girls because I'm my oldest, Pearl, her and I were like super, super close. I mean, I bring her to work with me, once or twice a week, and we spend a lot of time together. And because, I knew she would have a hard time with me being gone, and so we spaced it out. But yeah, it does suck when you have to leave them because you feel like you miss things. I mean, at the age that they're at,
right.
You're in like the same boat. You go away for a week, you come back, you're like, wow, you've grown, or like you're doing something that you weren't doing before I left, and
right.
I don't like missing that.
It's funny because they go from like, I could leave you in the living room and run and change a shirt, and then all of a sudden they're following you everywhere, and then they just become like little humans, and they're like, I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm going to repeat what you're saying, and sometimes it's not the best things. That's what trips me up the most. Like,
totally, yeah, and that when that. That switch flips. Andy, our 2-year-old, our 1-year-old, she started walking at like 11 months. And
wow.
It totally freaked me out because I'm like, why is this little humanoid walking right now? It just doesn't feel right.
Oh man, I love it. Yeah, we were totally in the same boat on this. I wonder, for your dad, Ozzy, it seems like Sabbath is winding things down, and I don't want to dwell on Sabbath, but do you think, Jack, that your dad could ever really retire from music? I mean, I don't personally see it happening. I don't know him, obviously, but from your perspective, will he ever stop doing music?
No, I think when Sabbath, when they kind of hang up the Sabbath hat,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to continue his solo stuff. And he says it best. He's like, I'm a musical artist. Artists don't retire. They don't go, hey, you know what? I'm done being artistic. He's like, I'm always going to want to do something.
Yeah.
He's just not. When you've been doing something for 47 years,
whew.
You don't just stop and just be okay with it.
It's such a long time and to have such success. And listen, buddy, I'm so excited for the show tonight, Ozzy and Jack's World Detour, 9:00 on the History Channel. And obviously, Jack, we want everybody to watch it because, and I don't know if it's in the plans, but it would seem that if it goes well, you guys would get to do this again potentially.
I think so. As long as the viewers like it, and as long as my dad wants to keep doing it. I will. I won't say no to adventuring.
Well, any excuse to hang out with your dad is a good thing, and I feel the same way. I would love to do something like this with my dad, and maybe I'll make a point to try and do more adventurous things with him. I think you're going to inspire a lot of father and sons to get out and be active together, and that's a great thing, buddy.
Totally, and absolutely. I mean, there's not many guys my age that can, go off and do this kind of thing for 10 weeks with their dad. And I totally, it's one of those things that the whole time I was there, even when it was getting frustrating, I was thinking about, I was like, this is awesome. Like, I'm creating memories that just would never normally happen. And I'm into that.
Well, I tell you what, it's going to be great. Everybody's going to watch it tonight again, 9 o'clock Central, History Channel for us. Ozzy and Jack's World Detour. Jack Osbourne, all the best to you and your family. Thanks for the time, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
Take care. Bye.